friends, welcome to the Inspired Knitting Podcast. I'm your host Bobby and I am coming to you from Kingston, Ontario, Canada. Today is Friday, February the 10th, 2022. I would first like to start the podcast off by welcoming any new viewers who are tuning in for the very first time. Welcome. And to all my returning viewers, welcome back. This is a podcast mostly about my knitting adventures and all sorts of fibery fun. Sometimes there is crochet and spinning in there today. Sadly, today there is not. I was hoping to have some spinning, but I got a little carried away with my knitting, which is all good. So there's no spinning. I haven't done anything with that, but maybe next time, who knows? So yeah, if that's your kind of thing, then maybe this is the podcast for you. Always remember to hit the like button below and leave your comments. I love hearing from you guys. That's the best part about this whole thing. Show notes are also in the description box below. I always leave detailed show notes. I will link you directly to any pattern designers that I talk about. So yeah, that's the gist of it. So let's get into the fun stuff. So I'm not going to really do any chatter. It's been a couple weeks since we last did this and it's been quiet around here. It's still very wintry out there, but we had like a lot of rain yesterday, so it's very slippery. It washed away a good portion of the snow, and it's supposed to be like 5 degrees Celsius today. So I closed the door now because it's pretty windy. That'd be annoying, but it's definitely a day where you can have the door, patio door open, the windows open. It's just so nice to have that fresh, mild air coming in. So I'm really enjoying that. But yeah, not much chatter. So I'm just going to get on into the fun knitting because there is a little bit to show. So I have finished objects today and I have works in progress. So let's jump into it. I got my coffee, of course. It's definitely a coffee kind of day. All right, so I'm going to first start off the podcast with what I'm wearing. It is a finished object and it is my Mini Me MKL by Cozy Up Knits. It is all finished and I will take it off because it deserves to be shown. I have one of my pretty shawl cuffs here. This one was purchased at the the Northern Pearl. Oh my God. The Northern Pearl in Timmins, Ontario. One of my favorite yarn shops ever. So I picked that one up there. I absolutely love my shawl cuffs. I have another one by Knox Mountain Knit Co. I also love that one as well. So, all right. So this isn't really a spoiler anymore because the mystery knit along ended technically February the 1st. So I'm presuming that everybody has seen it already. The ladies over at Cozy Up Knits have already showed it off. So yeah, and it is an amazing shawl. So I've already talked about it. Cozy Up Knits always does an annual shawl knit along. This is, I believe, their 7th year, and it's my 7th year in participating. Never get disappointed. So it's a mystery shawl knit along. We go into it not knowing what the shape of it will be or what it looks like. This year it was like a crescent shaped shawl, and she is gorgeous. I absolutely love it. It is big, it's gorgeous, and I'm in love with it. So you could have went a couple different ways. It is a fingering weight shawl. You could have used 3 skeins of fingering, or you could use 1 skein of a main color and 10 20-gram minis, and that's what I chose to do. So I wanted to use from my stash to kind of use up my stash. So I went with my main color is this beautiful silver gray. This is West Yorkshire Spinners Exquisite, which is a merino no, it was a Falkland, mulberry silk, and maybe just Falkland and mulberry silk. I can't remember. I've talked about it and showed the label on a previous episode. So that's my main color. And then I just went into my mini basket and pulled out a bunch of colors that I thought would work together. And it turns out I had a lot of purple. So I just went with purples. Kind of did a fade, but not really. So I've talked about the colors in previous episodes. There's some Polka Dot Creek. There is, show you from this end, this is Northern Pearl and the Cozy Knitter. And I can't tell you which ones now, but out of these ones here, this was a purple fade kit that I had got. It's from Sweet Georgia Yarns. And they're absolutely beautiful. So as you can tell, I think I only used in total 9 of the colors. So it comes down, the last clue, your border. You could have used your color 9 and 10 to do your border. So you could make the border as long as you wanted to. I just chose to do that much. This shawl was starting to get pretty big, and yeah, I was just happy with having a slightly smaller border. You can do it as big or as small as you want. It is a beautiful lace pattern, but it was super simple. So I pretty much just used up number 9 almost to the end. That way I wouldn't play yarn chicken with it. Like, still had quite a, like, enough left. And yeah, it turned out great. So what you could do, and I believe Sarah put this in her tutorial and in one of her pictures, you can actually pull these points out on your lace to make it a little bit more pointy. I didn't do that. I just laid it out in the crescent shape and blocked it this way. I kind of like that better. But if you wanted to make these ends more pointy, you could definitely take your T-pins and stretch that out more. So yeah, it turned out really great. As you can tell, I'll get it in a little bit closer. Each section, well, there's 2 sections that have the same texture. I absolutely love the eyelet section. That's my favorite. But there's different textures going on, and I really love that. It keeps the shawl interesting, and it just keeps you going. So this shawl was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed this one. So congratulations, lady, on another successful knit along and for creating a beautiful shawl. I love it. And seeing Sarah's was actually Sarah's main color, I believe, was mohair. You could actually use mohair. I chose not to do that. I love mohair, don't get me wrong. I just don't like working with it like single strand. It's not one of my favorite things. But that's definitely an option. But I really love the colors that she used in her shawl. And looking through my my mini basket, I kind of have colors that could match that. So if I was to get a white skein, I probably wouldn't do the mohair like I said, but it'd be cool to make the shawl again in those colors because it's really pretty. But coffee, see, I love my coffee and I spill stuff. So I don't know if that would be smart, but we'll see. We will see. So there is my finished mini me. And I love it. Like I said, I've already worn it out a couple times, and it's just a very beautiful, beautiful shawl. And I love it because it's a slightly larger shawl. I like my shawls to be big. So yeah, I love it. So mini me, I will have it linked below. Do check it out. Sorry, I'm fussing. Okay, I'll stop fussing. All right, there we go. So that's my first finished object. My second finished object is another toque. I made another Winter Dreamer hat by, I believe her name is Kalurah Hudson. I know that's not how you pronounce her name. I am saying that wrong, but it is linked below. This is now my fourth hat, third or fourth Winter Dreamer hat. I absolutely love this hat. I knit mine in the Estelle Chunky. It is a chunky weight hat, and it is wonderful. It's in a teal colorway. I have the color number, because it's a number, linked on my Ravelry page, but it's just a very beautiful cabled hat. It's not hard at all. It's only 2 different cables and it's pretty simple. I will just put it on quickly. I have chosen not to put a pom-pom on this one just because I wear, my parka has like this big fur hood on it, and with the pom-pom it just makes it more awkward. So lately I haven't been putting the pom-poms on my hats, but it's just perfect. You can put it on or leave it off. I'm choosing to leave it off on this one. Now I have yarn picked out to do a purple one. It's a dark purple because, you know, new shawl, you need to have a matching hat to go with it. So it'll probably be another one of these. I'm not sure yet. So Winter Dreamer, go check it out. Absolutely love that pattern. So I'm just gonna get a quick drink of coffee. And also for that hat, even though it's a chunky, I knit one as a Christmas gift and I used worsted weight. So I have a slightly looser gauge. So using the worsted weight, if you find that you're a tighter knitter, maybe just go up a needle size. But other people that have knit the Winter Dreamer hat have also used worsted weight as well, and it works out beautifully. Maybe my next one was the purple one, but maybe the next one I do will be in worsted weight because it was a really nice fit on that one as well. So just because the pattern calls for chunky, you could go down to a worsted. That was a really nice hat. All right, so the next thing I have to share is a pair of mittens. If you follow me on Instagram, I already posted a picture. They've already gotten lots of love this past week. So my best friend, I knit him a pair of mittens last year and he wore the thumb out, actually both thumbs out. And yes, I know I could just graft them together, but I decided that he just needed a new pair. So I go for my favorite mitten pattern. It is the world's simplest mittens by Tin Can Knits, and I absolutely love this pattern. I've talked about it lots. I love it just because it's written for baby all the way up to adult large, and you can use fingering all the way up to chunky, bulky. It's perfect. It's the perfect pattern. Tin Can Knits, amazing. So for these ones, I did the adult large. I cast it on the adult medium. I got through the cuff and he tried it on and it was not big enough, so I took it back apart and I redid it. So for this, for his original mittens, I used Cascade 220, which is what I used again. This one's just black, except he said that he found that they were just a little bit too light. So what I did is I had some leftover fingering weight yarn in black, which was a Pro Lana. It was just their fingering weight base. So it was black, so I just held the Cascade 220, which is a worsted, with a strand of fingering weight, which technically gives me a heavy Aran weight to chunky. And he says they're perfect. So I tried these on and yeah, I agree. They are really, really nice. So it being so close to spring, I don't think that I'm going to knit myself a pair. But we'll see. I don't know. But they are really, really nice. I like them. They're nice and thick. And they're perfect. And he loves them. And I really love him because I held black yarn double. But he is a very knit-worthy guy, so he is very deserving. So there's my mittens. I got those all done. World's Simplest Mittens. Go check them out. All right. So I have one more finished object. I always do a Christmas Eve cast on sock. Danny of the Little Bobbins podcast started doing this years ago, and it's for any yarn, any sock pattern of your choice, and it's always been just a tradition. So I ended up choosing to knit a pair of Let's Stay Home socks by Nancy Wheeler, and it is this beautiful simple cable pattern, and I absolutely love Nancy's work. She always does beautiful sock designs, but they're simple, so it not only looks gorgeous, but it's something that is so simple to just, you can watch TV and just get into a rhythm with it. It's wonderful. So I casted these on with Northern Pearl on Angela's merino sock base, so it's merino nylon, and this was part of her advent from last year. This was our main skein on Christmas Day, and it's called Holly Berry. And can we just admire this for a minute? Like, look at how it stripes almost. It is so beautiful. Angela's dyeing is wonderful. I love it. So I did get them both done, and I cannot be happier, and I can't wait to wear them now. I know it's not Christmas, but I don't care. They're still wonderful. And I'll just take a moment here to take one off the sock blocker. That way you can actually see the pretty cable patterning. So it is cable, and I actually was able to, sorry, there we go. I was actually able to do the cable without a cable needle, which is actually something I've never done before, but it was quite easy. And yeah, it turned out wonderful. So it's a simple repeat, and I just love it. It's so pretty. I chose to do it in a variegated yarn. I think it would look stunning in a solid as well. I do have some brown yarn, and I think it would look really pretty. So I might, after I get some other socks off my needles, I might cast on another pair in a solid. So it does have a slip stitch heel flap and gusset. I didn't say that. It does come in 3 sizes, so a 56, 64, and 72 stitch count, fingering weight, and they're perfect. So this is the Let's Stay Home sock by Nancy Wheeler. Love. So that's it for finished objects. So now I'm going to move on into works in progress. So more coffee. Okay, so what should we start with? Okay, I think I will just continue with socks. So after I casted those socks off, I automatically had to cast on another pair because I like having a sock project on the needle. And I went into my stash, and I was kind of wanting some bright colors to work with. So I ended up pulling out the skein of, hang on, it's falling apart here. Surprise, surprise, the Northern Pearl. Look how pretty that is. Oh, I love it. Kind of reminds me, it reminds me of spring and flowers, and it's just what I need. So here is, it's one of her older tags, but there's Angel's tag. and it is on her superwash fingering base, 420 yards, 115 grams, and it's an 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon, and I'm not going to try to pronounce the colorway name, but there it is. And I haven't done it in a little bit, but I wanted to add a contrast, so I just chose one of these minis. I had this pulled out for my mini me shawl, but I chose not to use it, and I really wish I could remember whose yarn this is, but I don't. It could be Agel's, the Northern Pearl, but I'm not 100% certain of it. But it's very pretty, and I think you can tell it's purple, but it's got some blue spots in it. Oh, it's so pretty. So I'm using that as my contrast, and I chose to cast on the Spring Garden Socks by Dana Ray Makes. I absolutely love Dana. I'm testing it for her, and I'm actually test knitting for her currently, which I will talk about in a moment. But I love her sock patterns. They're always wonderful, and so I knew that I wanted something simple, and I was thinking along the lines of ribbing because, or rib texture, because ribbing is, you know, it's really stretchy. It makes for nice socks. They don't fall down. So I looked on Ravelry, and I found these socks, and I am loving it. So this is the Spring Garden Socks by Dana Ray Makes. It's got a simple rib texture going on. So I cast it on for the cuff, and it's got a heel flap and gusset, and I did the color contrast for the heel. So these socks are just going to have the contrast for the cuff and the heel. I am just going to do the toe in the main colorway. So yeah, that's what I got so far. I decreased my gusset, so now I'm just working on the foot of the sock. This is sock number 1. And yeah, they're turning out really well. I like them. So yeah, I've been working on these ones quite a bit because, like I said, it's just really nice to work with something bright and colorful. So that's sock number 1. And then I'm just gonna put this down here. Sock number 2. I saw that Dana Ray Makes, she had posted a thing on her Instagram, and I'm just going to show you a picture here because it deserves the justice. She has posted for a test knit that's coming out, and you've got 2 patterns in the test knit. I'll just let her little reel play there. So they are DK weight socks, and the first one is kind of a color work pattern, and then the second one is this beautiful lace one, and that's the one I chose to do. So the pattern doesn't have patterns don't have a name just yet, or at least no official name. So she put the post out, and I automatically had to put my name in because I just love Dana's work. So I got accepted, and the pattern came to us last night, so I got that started. So I'm just going to put this aside. So I managed to get through the lace section. DK weight works up like super fast. So I'll first off show the yarn. So I ended up getting a skein of DK from my Yarnable box last year. So Yarnable, absolutely wonderful subscription box by Cheryl of Hypnotic Yarn. Very wonderful box. I always enjoyed it. I am not subscribed to it anymore, but you always get 1 to 2 skeins of either fingering or DK. I was getting fingering, and then I decided, like, I got a lot of fingering. I'd like to try some DK, and Oh my gosh, it is such a beautiful base. It's her plush decay, and it is so plush. Like, oh my gosh, it's so soft. So it's an 85% superwash merino, 15% nylon, and it's 246 yards per 100 grams. And it is wonderful. And the colorway was called Born to Stand Out. So here it is. It's this beautiful pink with blue speckles, hot pink speckles. Absolutely gorgeous. So I don't have a ton of DK in my stash, and because this one had the nylon in it, it was a no-brainer to use. You don't really want to make socks without nylon because they will wear out like super quick. So they are for me. It's not like I'm going to be walking on them, but still, when you go through the hard work of making something, you don't really want it to wear out fast. So yeah, I recently had a pair of socks. I'm not the one who's wearing them, but a pair that I had knit, the heels totally got worn out on them. So it's hard to see, and I know that can be fixed. You can like take the heel back out. It is a heel flap and gusset, so that makes me a little worried. If it was an afterthought heel, I know I could just cut it out, and I know there is a way to do it for a heel flap and gusset, but I do not like doing things like that. I'd rather just knit a new pair of socks. But anyways, that was a total sidebar. But anyways, make sure there's nylon in your sock yarn. So, okay. So here is the sock. This is the test sock. It has not been released yet, but how pretty is that? I absolutely love it. I love the lace texture. So, so pretty, and it is on both sides. So I got through the chart last night. It is chart written in chart form and written form. I am actually a written, I'd rather read written instructions than charts. I do know how to read charts, but I just prefer the written, and I love it when designers give you the option. It's really nice. So yeah, I am knitting mine on a 3.25. You could go up to a 3.5 as well. I think that would probably be better if you were doing the second pair of socks, the colorwork ones. Typically, your colorwork tends to be a bit tighter, but since I'm a loose knitter, I went with the 3.25 for these socks, and it's perfect. There are 3 sizes in the pattern. I'm doing the medium, and oh, they're so squishy. I wish you guys could feel this. So that's what I got so far. So now there's going to be like a ribbed texture going on here for the foot, or I should say the leg. So yeah, I got that done while watching TV last night, having so much fun with it. It's a very beautiful sock, so I will keep you guys updated when this, there's 2 socks to the pattern, like I said, but I'll keep you updated when these come out. So yeah, there's that. So I'll put that away. All right. Alrighty, so what do we have next? Okay. I have 2 more things to share with you guys. So I kind of casted on something new. Had no business doing that, but hey, I don't care. It's my knitting. I'm going to enjoy it. So one of my local yarn stores, it's like a couple hours away, but it is Yarn-It in Coburg, Ontario. And for the month of January, I believe, they did a knit along, and it was for the Killer Queen Cowl, which is by Mary Annarella, who is Lyrical Knits on Instagram. And here is the cowl. So pretty. I was I kept seeing pictures of it coming out, and I was like, I really like that. It would be so perfect. It looks like a shawl, but it's a cowl, so it's not going to fall off. It's just so pretty. And these colors too. Like, I really want one in those colors. But I went through my stash, and I kind of have the background color, but I didn't have anything really to do with the contrast. And I'm kind of going through my works in progress, that like stuff that I have going. And I had seen this project. I had started a Snuggle is Real cowl by, I think it's designs by Dells. I had started that last spring, I think, and I'm just not feeling it anymore. I was like, it looks so beautiful. I don't want to pull it off the needles, but over almost a year later, it's like, okay, this is getting a little ridiculous. So I decided to pull it off the needles and cast this cowl on instead. It's perfect. So it is I believe it's a worsted weight cowl. At least that's what I'm using. So for my Snuggle is Real, I chose a Cascade 220 Superwash Merino in a black, pretty simple. And then I had picked up this beautiful skein of the Northern Pearl, and it's on her worsted merino base, Superwash Merino. And I, of course, don't have the tag anymore, but I think it was called like Barn Door or something like that. Very pretty. It's got the blacks, the reds, gray. It's perfect. So since I already had that, I had pulled it out and it was just sitting there on my shelf. I thought, why not make this cowl with that? So you need 2 skeins of your main color. So my main color is my black. So I have another skein of it here, so I'm not worried about that. And you only need 1 skein of your contrast, which my contrast is the red, so I have more than enough. And like I said, I'm trying to use from stash, so it was perfect. So here's what I have so far. So you cast on up here, and it is worked flat, and then you have increases in the different sections here. You have increases happening on one end, and you can see how they kind of stopped here, and we got the increases happening on this side. It's a very well written pattern, not confusing at all. And what I love most about it is the different textures. So we got this pretty stitch here, and then we kind of got the big bobble section, as it's called, but they are not bobbles. It's just the way that the stitch is done. It kind of makes them pop out a little bit. And then we got the same texture down here as the top. And now I'm into the next section, which is the cross, kind of the cross stitch there. So I've just started the setup rows for that. So yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with it. I kind of put it down to work on something else that I'm going to show you, but yeah, it's a really fun pattern, and I really love the yarn. So I'm glad that this yarn's not sitting in a project bag. It's actually going to have some use to it. So Killer Queen Cowl by Mary Annarella. Do go check it out. I can totally see myself knitting the green one though. I think I definitely want to do that. I actually have a skein of Cascade Wave. If you look at the picture, it kind of looks like a hand spun wood. The colors transition. So Cascade Wave is a affordable yarn that you could purchase to kind of have that same effect. Or maybe I'll just use some of my hand spun. I don't know yet, but I could definitely see myself knitting this cowl again in some green colors because I really love that. So there is that. And I got one more work in progress to share with you. So I'm just gonna okay. So on the last podcast, I had showed you my love note, and I'm super excited because this week my local yarn store, the Pearl and J here in Kingston, is hosting like a little mini event where we can come show our sweaters off. So I'm super excited for that. That is Tuesday, February the 14th. So I'm excited, but also a little nervous. I'm always nervous. I have been to this yarn shop once, but that's just who I am. I have to warm up to people. But yeah, I'm excited to go and meet with other knitters, and it should be fun. But I knit a Love Note sweater in the month of January, and it kind of kicked me into gear with my sweater knitting again. I kind of, not that I don't want to knit sweaters, I did. There's lots of patterns that are gorgeous. Excuse me. I have a couple that are still on the go, but it's just like I kind of fell off of it. I just wanted to knit smaller things. I wanted to knit my shawls, stuff like that. So I had cast it on, and I think I've shown this on the podcast before. I cast it on, let me see, I'm going to pull it up here because I'm going to fudge the name up. It's a petite knit pattern. Let me see. I think it's called the Marisol. It's a drop shoulder construction, and it's striped, it's like a striped pullover. Just give me 2 seconds here. I should have pulled it up earlier. It is a DK weight sweater. And the reason why I wanted to knit this sweater was because I saw Sharon of the Modern Skein. She had done one, and she did it in browns and white, and like brown with white stripes, and I absolutely adored it, and I really wanted one for myself. So okay, that's gonna take too long to sign in. Okay, one moment. I'll see if Petite Knits has a picture of it on her Instagram here quickly. But I saw Sharon's version of it with the brown and the white, and I absolutely loved it. Okay, so here's the sweater. It's just a gorgeous pullover. I love it, and it is the Marcelli sweater. So I decided that I wanted to cast it on, and I think I did this maybe around fall, I can't remember. It does have, it's got a drop shoulder construction, so it's got a very unique construction. You start with the back, you're working flat, you do some short row shaping, and I had casted it on and I messed up. I was not reading the pattern correctly. I was tired, I remember that. So you cast on here, this is the back. So I had messed up. I put my white stripe like up here, and you were supposed to put it further down. So I had gotten really discouraged. I had ripped the stripe out almost right away, but then I just put it into timeout. I did not want to see it. I did not want to look at it. So all I had was like this little bit of short row shaping. So after I finished my love note, instead of casting something else on, I went into my whip basket and pulled it out because I really want the sweater. So I managed to get the back all finished. I put the stripe in the right place. So after you get your back done, you pick up stitches. So there's like, you would have live stitches on both sides here for your shoulder. So you just pick those up, you knit your fronts, and then you work back and forth for the front. I'm probably giving it away a little bit, sorry. But then it all comes together. Just trust the pattern, and yeah, I am joined now in the round. So I've literally just a couple rows from my arms from joining. So yeah, but I'm super happy. It's gotten a lot of progress on it, and the yoke is finished technically. So now I just knit back and forth in the round, putting my stripes in when they're supposed to be. And yeah, so I am now on the body of the sweater. Super happy with it. I think it's going to be gorgeous. And yes, I totally copycatted Sharon's sweater, but look at it, it's perfect. So the yarn, I'm super excited about the yarn too. So it is Juniper Moon Farms Patagonia, sorry. And it's a DK base, and it is so beautiful. So it's very squishy. If you are a spinner and you feel something like a rambouillet, how it has that real squish factor, that's what it reminds me of. It's not a rambouillet, but that's what it feels like to me. It's very squishy, and I have knit with this yarn before, and once it's washed and blocked, it gets even squishier. So it is on a tad on the rustic side, but I have very sensitive skin and it does not bother me at all. So I highly recommend it, and the price point is wonderful. It is 100% wool, and it is, I don't have my glasses on here, 382 yards for a DK, and it's priced at, I believe, $18 Canadian, which, that is amazing. So Juniper Moon Farms, go check them out. So this one has a color number. So my white is Pearl. It actually has the name on it too. So the white is Pearl. And my brown is Anise. They're both Juniper Moon. So I'm super excited to have a sweater in this yarn. I think it's going to be amazing. It feels amazing already. So this is my Maricel sweater. Can't wait to finish it. I am doing the extra large to 1X size. I'm starting to bring my sweater sizes down a bit because I was knitting them way too big. But yeah, I test fitted it, and I think it's going to be perfect. So yeah, I can't wait. It is going to have long sleeves on it this time. Yeah, I need to have long sleeves. So that is what I've been working on. So I'm having a lot of fun with that. Very easy knitting, nothing too complicated. My kind of knitting. So yeah, that's what I have been working on. Dream knitting, I'm trying not to think about that. As I've said, I kind of just want to stay as focused as I can. I'm very squirrely, like something can grab my attention, and I have been seeing a lot of stuff coming up on Instagram, and Instagram is evil. But I have been keeping my focus, which I really love because I'm getting stuff done. But I really don't have a lot of dream knitting right now. I'm just trying to stay focused and get stuff done. So yeah. All right, so I'm gonna let you guys go for now. Show notes are in the description box below where you can find everything, and I always link any designer, not designers, makers that I've talked about as well, so you can check that out there. So until next time, I will see you in 2 weeks. Bye.